Okay, so here we go. This is called Revenge of la Mano Pachona.
Everybody face front, please. Listen.
Ms. Peña's class was the worst group of third graders ever. They could not be quiet, would not pay attention, refused to do their homework. They left a mess at lunch, ran amok at recess, and generally made life difficult for their teacher, a young woman, fresh out of college, with dreams of bettering children's lives. Fat chance. The imps in her class didn't want to change. They were completely happy with their mischievous existence. Juanito Ortiz didn't mean to make his teacher upset. He actually liked her a lot. She was pretty and nice and smelled like lavender. But when all the other kids started cutting up, he couldn't help himself. Later, he always felt guilty. He even thought about apologizing to her when no one was around. He would one day wish he had. After the first 6 weeks, something must have snapped in Ms. Peña. She came to school dressed entirely in black, turned the lights down low, and told her students a very scary tale. Have you ever heard of La Mano Pachona, students? Many of them had, and they told her excitedly. Others had no idea. Pachona means furry. Mano means hand. You see, La Mano Pachona is a hairy claw that crawls around by itself with no body at all, doing dark deeds. My grandmother always called it the demon hand. No one knows for sure where the demon hand comes from, of course. Some say that a Mayan wizard was tortured by Spanish priests long ago, and just before his limbs were chopped off, he cast a spell on his right hand. He was buried in an unmarked grave so no one could find him, but the soil had not yet settled over his body when the hand crawled into the light of a full moon and began its mission of revenge. At this point, nearly every boy and girl in the class was absolutely still, riveted either by fear or fascination. Miss Peña leaned closer. Its favorite victims, she said softly, are bad children. Disobedient little ones who act like unchained wild animals. It sneaks into their bedrooms, hides beneath their beds or in their closets, waits for them to fall asleep. Her voice got suddenly louder, and curls its nasty fingers around their legs, their arms, their faces. Several students squeaked in shock. Others rubbed misty eyes. Juanito's heart was beating like a hummingbird. He could imagine the demon hand, gnarled and hairy, lying in wait even now. So, my sweet little charges, when you get into bed today, be sure to run and jump onto the mattress, no matter what your parents say. No one wants to feel the furry touch of that black claw as it closes around your ankle and pulls you into the darkness. What a thing to say to your third grade students, right? It's pretty cool. For the next week, the children were very well behaved. Most of them worried that their behavior would cause the demon hand to hunt them down. But as is true with all kids, their fears faded with time and bad habits crept back in. Boys and girls, Miss Peña warned as she tried to get them back to their seats. Remember what I told you about La Mano Pachona? Nombre, grunted one particularly mean boy, Samudio Iglesias. Chale, miss, there's no Mano Pachona. You're just trying to make us behave by scaring us. Are you sure of that, Mr. Iglesias? Simon, I double dare that stupid demon hand to come and get me. Even if he would come, I would flush him down the toilet. Most of the kids laughed. Not Juanito, though. He figured it was better to be safe than sorry. He didn't want La Mano Pachona to get the wrong idea about him. The next day, Samudio was changed. His eyes were wide. He sat bolt upright at his desk. He never joked, and he always answered when the teacher called on him. At lunch, he ate all his food, even the steamed broccoli, and neatly put his tray away. The other students asked him what was wrong, but he wouldn't reply, other than to duck his head and avert his eyes. Other kids took his place as class clown, and one by one, they returned to school after Mrs. Peña's warning in the same state as Samudio. The remaining students, fearing whatever curse had clearly befallen their classmates, stopped misbehaving without any more reminders. The class was docile, obedient. Miss Peña's smile grew wider and wider each day. Juanito tried desperately not to get out of line, to act exactly the way his teacher expected, But boys will be boys. And one day, a student from another class pointed out a cool frog during recess. Juanito went scuttling after it, trying to catch the slick amphibian. He strayed from his group against Miss Peña's strict instructions. Just as he closed his hands around the slippery mottled skin, someone yanked him back. It was his teacher. She looked very upset. "Juanito," she scolded him, "I guess you simply want to learn the hard way, don't you?" No, ma'am. I'm sorry." "Well, let's just hope La Mano Pachona doesn't decide to teach you a lesson. You know how it hates disobedient children." The whole rest of the day, Juanito's palms and stomach ached as he glanced around him constantly, worried that the demon hand could be waiting for him anywhere. At home that night, he dreaded bedtime, and he did everything he could to stay up later than usual. Finally, his mother put her foot down, making him shower and get into bed. Juanito lay in the dark a long time, twitching at every shadow or noise. Gradually, though, not even his fear could keep his eyelids from drooping, and sleep overtook him at last. Shortly after midnight, he jerked awake, confused, his heart beating fast. A skittering sound came from beneath his bed. Juanito sat up, pressed his back against the headboard, pulled his pillows tightly close to him. A narrow strip of light from the hall bathroom fell across the sheets that dimly lined the deep shadows of his bedroom. To Juanito's horror, a gruesome shape came crawling into that light, 5-legged, hairy monstrosity lifting a stump-like tail into the air. It was La Mano Pachona, and it spidered its way across the bed onto his folded legs, its long nails leaving strange indentations in the mattress. "No," whispered Juanito, his throat clenching with terror, making it impossible for him to cry out. "No, please." The hand scrambled up his left leg, its weight and claws painful, and stood upon the pillows just inches from the boy's face. Juanito, trembling uncontrollably, sucked in air and fought to release a scream. The disembodied hand lifted its index finger and waggled it back and forth. No. He choked back a sob but didn't make a sound. Creeping closer, the hairy claw laid that finger beside the boy's nose. Its touch was too much. He began to pass out. La Mano Pachona slapped him awake. Pass. Can you imagine? Crazy. That would be it for me. I would just pee myself wrong. It laid that gnarled, hairy finger across his lips, then ran it sideways across his throat. Then it backed away from him and waited. He understood after a second or two. It was waiting for an answer. You want me to be quiet in class, or you'll kill me." The demon hand tightened to a fist, then opened its fingers quickly, springing backward onto the bed. Then it lifted its index finger again, flexed it twice. Yes. Then it scuttled away into the darkness. As he sat there, his heartbeat slowing as he pondered his doom, Juanito caught a whiff of a familiar smell. Lavender, his teacher's perfume. Dun, dun, dun. So the teacher obviously has been sending La Mano Pachona again.